Hi, I'm Mark Lumia, and I'm going to tell you how and why I got into the Medicare business.
Welcome to the Medicare Minute, providing clear solutions to your Medicare questions. Our insight and experience will help you prepare and navigate the overwhelming task of Medicare enrollment by giving you the peace of mind you hope to enjoy during your retirement. It's time for the Medicare Minute, presented by Medicare Mark.
So the story starts shortly after I got out of college. I was working at a restaurant called 15th Street Fisheries. And what happened was there was other waiters there that I was working with. And there was a Halloween costume contest coming up. So what I did is I entered this Halloween costume contest at a place called Pier 66, right off of 17th Street Causeway in Fort Lauderdale. And there's like 100 contestants. Well, they made everyone go outside when the contest started, except for me. They had no idea. I was standing right next to the stage. So what happened is, around the 8th contestant out of 100, they called for Mr. Bush. And everyone's looking at the door, and I'm looking at everybody. And basically, they called Mr. Bush again. And what I'm doing is, I'm looking at the door. Everyone's looking at the door, and I'm looking at them and laughing. They said, "Last call for Mr. Bush." And I started moving. I was a potted plant, standing right next to the stage. And when I started moving, some people noticed me, but it was slow. And then gradually everyone noticed me. I got onto the stage. Long story short, I won $1,000 first prize for my costume. That basically I bought a pot, cut it in half, tied my topsiders in. I wrapped myself in burlap. Actually, my mom and sister wrapped me in burlap. We had an olive tree out back. They cut off the branches and put the branches all over me. So I look like a potted plant. My potted plant costume was so good that somebody in the audience actually threw their drink in my pot, thinking I was just part of the decorations. So with that $1,000, here I am working at 15th Street Fisheries right after college, just being a waiter. We started a lawn service called the Lawn King. And I was cutting this grass. Actually, the guy that I work with, the other waiter, was cutting the grass, and I was standing out there watching him because I owned the Lawn King. And the owner of the house came out and he says, and he was talking to me. He says, you'd be really good at my business. And I said, well, what's that? He said, well, I work for a company called United Insurance Company of America. So I went in for an interview. Basically, United Insurance Company of America was what's called an industrial insurance company. That's the only kind of company where you can have a temporary license. In other words, before you're licensed, you can actually still sell. So I started working, and my area to work was called Hallandale, Florida. It was actually in the ghetto. So I would go in there, I would collect weekly premiums for burial insurance and things like that. It was already a set up area where we're collecting like $10,000 a month cash. And now you had to go right after the third, right when they got their Social Security checks, because if you didn't, they would spend all their money, and most of them didn't have bank accounts. They were paying me cash. So here I am working this debit, and it sometimes got kind of scary. One time I was leaving this person's house, and right next to her house was a crack house. And right when I got in my car, I'm a white guy in an area that's a ghetto that are mostly black people, and this white cop pulls me over, and the lady runs out the front door and said, Officer, leave him alone. He's my insurance man." So shortly after that, daylight savings came, and now I'm collecting cash in the ghetto next to crack houses. And I was like in my 20s, and I was like, this is not for me. This is around 1989, 1990. So I applied for a job. I found a job with a company called Humana Healthcare. This was back in 1990. So here I am in my 20s, and I got a job for Humana. Within the first couple of years, I eventually was one of the top 100 people, and I think it was like 1992, I hit the top 100, and I think it was like number 38. Well, that year, here, remember, I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That year, the national convention's in Key West, Florida. So I'm like, oh man, if I'm going to win, why am I going to win when the contest reward is in Florida? But anyway, it ended up being pretty good. But that was 1992. In 1992, what happened? Hurricane Andrew. Hurricane Andrew was making a dead shot towards Miami, and right before it hit, it turned a little bit left, and it went through Homestead. So when we go to this national convention, we're all on a bus from Fort Lauderdale going down, to the Keys, and everything's like leveled. Anyway, we go down and do what we do in Key West. On the way back, the bus broke down. So basically, we got off this bus and we were just waiting for hours, and the manager started buying everyone drinks and things like that. So that's how I originally got into Medicare, right around 1989, 1990, more like 1990. And I worked for Humana Healthcare for like 5 years. And near the end of that, I started learning other things, and I got many different licenses: life, health, and annuities, securities licenses, my mortgage license, my real estate license, and I got all these licenses. So in around 2005, I moved from Fort Lauderdale up to Ocala, Florida, and I currently have an office that I built near the Villages, Florida, and that's the largest senior community in America, and some people say the world. And my office that I built is in Oxford, Florida. So that's how I got into the Medicare business, and you can see now it's 2019. I'm still doing it. I have a nice office, and basically what we do, we realized back when I first started, picture this, in Fort Lauderdale, when I first started, you could enroll people every single month. So if someone enrolled March 15th, they were going to start April 1st, the first of the following month. But they were really, it was really pretty easy. You go to their house, you show them there's a zero premium for this versus the premium that they're going to pay for a supplement, and they basically just made a decision. But they can change their mind every single month. Well, what's happened is the government's got more and more involved. So on the Medicare supplement side, there's still regulation and standardization, but on the Medicare Advantage side, there's a lot more rules. So, for example, on the Medicare supplement side, I can call anyone I want. On the Medicare Advantage side, I'm not allowed to call anyone without permission. On the Medicare supplement side, I can do a seminar and serve them lunch, talk about Medicare supplements. On the Medicare Advantage side, you can no longer serve lunches. So, 2019 versus 1990, the rules and the government involvement has gotten more and more. So now Medicare is really confusing. When someone's getting ready to turn 65, what happens? They get mailed and mailed and mailed. Sometimes 6-7 months before they even turn 65 and they're eligible for Medicare. They have a stack 2 or 3 feet high of literature from all the different companies that are trying to get them to go on either Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare supplement. Then they start getting bombarded with calls maybe 4, 5, 6 months out, and then all until they turn 65 and they make the decision, they're getting calls and getting bombarded. And I find that people are really confused. There's a lot of information, lots of different companies. They might have to see 10 different people to go through it all, or they can see an independent agent like me and basically just see one person, and I help them figure it out. And so we decided to start the Medicare Minute so we can help the seniors understand Medicare more clearly. So Medicare Minute is brought to you by Medicare Mark. Medicare Mark will be my membership site where I'm going to have videos and things that people can go look at to learn everything they need to learn. On the Medicare Minute, I'm basically going to be talking about Medicare. And I really want people to get involved. You can make comments at the bottom. I need to know what kinds of things you want to learn, what you think you need to do when you turn 65. It could be, whatever the question is. I need help. I need some people to give me questions of the things they want to know, not the things I want to teach them. Now, when you're... So that was pretty interesting. I had a mind lapse, and that's just normal. It happens when you get older and older. Anyway, so this website's going to be pretty awesome, and the Medicare Mark site is going to be really good. It's going to be a membership site, like I said, and there's going to be called the Medicare Minute. It's going to be our podcast. We're going to do these podcasts. We're going to start off with like 3 episodes, and then after the first 3 episodes, we're going to probably do these weekly. We're also going to do in the local area here, let's say the Villages. I have an office, like I said, and in my office, we're going to do a Medicare focus group. So we're going to bring people in when they're 64 years old, bring them into my office, ask them what they want to know and what kind of questions they want to have answered. I can tell you the things I want to tell you, but I really want to tell you the things you want to know. So that's what we're going to do with this podcast. I'm really excited. I've been doing this since, like I said, 1989, 1990. There's a lot of attrition in this business. A lot of times you have an agent and they're here today and they're gone tomorrow. Well, I've been here since 1989, 1990. Hopefully not going anywhere, God willing. We're going to have clear solutions for your Medicare questions. So anything you're not sure about, we're going to help you figure out. And if I don't know the answer, I'll know where to get the answer. So once again, welcome to the Medicare Minute. This is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. And don't forget, make comments down below. I need these comments because if I don't have your questions, I can't provide you the answers to the things you want to know. You could go to my site, Medicare Mark. You can look at some videos. You can also post some questions there. And this is going to be a good thing. If I don't have your questions, though, I can't give you all the benefit that you want. Now, remember, it might seem simple, but it's not. It's really confusing. And for example, on the Medicare supplement side, they have standardized plans. So it doesn't matter what company you pick. If plan S, plan F, no matter what company you pick, you might decide to go with the plan that has the lowest premium. On the Medicare Advantage side, there's all different kinds of options and different plans have different things. So you're definitely going to need some help. And we're going to provide all that for you. We have a Medicare Mark Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all those different kind of sites, YouTube. So enjoy and please get involved. Over and out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Medicare Minute with Medicare Mark. For more resources based on today's episode, head to MedicareMark.com and receive free access to videos, additional episodes, show notes, and more ways we can provide clear solutions to your Medicare questions. We look forward to providing more truth about Medicare right here on the next episode of the Medicare Minute. Take care.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to my husband, Medicare Mark, on Medicare Minute. If you enjoying the content, please be sure to subscribe. Every little bit helps to get this important information out to people. So I appreciate your help. If you miss an episode or looking for additional information, be sure to visit MedicareMark.com. You can find previous episodes in our video library. Are you looking for answers on topics that Mark did not cover yet? Leave us a message at MedicareMark.com and we will work it on a future podcast. Thanks for listening. Until next time.